An aggressive target, and again, as I've said before, if we'd have hit 100%, I think we wouldn't have been aiming high enough. So we were pleased with that, and the balance of the stuff is in progress, and we're well on our way to getting to 100, and then proceeding with the rest of our strategic goals for the entire term.
Right. And you add to your first 100 days, things come up.
Yes.
Things happen that we weren't planning, and I think. Started with Delta variant, right?
Yeah.
I've had personally 2 people in the last 2 days vaccinated, diagnosed, and it's just like, there's no, this is not over, and we're going to be in this for a while.
No,
just your thoughts on that, kind of from the city's level of the things that you're thinking about, you're doing, those kind of things.
Well, it's unfortunate. It's highly unfortunate that we weren't able to get to a requisite level of vaccination so that we could sort of whistle past this, but we can't. We didn't get there, so we have to take it very seriously. It makes me very glad, however, that one of the items we accomplished in our 100-day plan was establishing an Office of Community Health and hiring Dr. Mary Lambert as its director, who is herself a rock star, a highly qualified person. And she's been working very closely with Becky Barnes and the county health department, and I've been working quite closely with Jim Coppinger to close ranks and make sure that we get where we need to be. But unfortunately, we find ourselves back in a situation where we're going to have to start taking this very seriously again. Yeah,
explain this. I know that you had said on the record that there were vaccine incentives among city employees, and you consider expanding that to other residents?
We are, yeah. I think we're going to be announcing that, probably Thursday, I hope. Okay. But we will have an incentive program for all city residents to announce very soon.
Yeah, I know when you make a decision like that, there's lots of research that goes into that. Can you explain some of that, kind of like what you hope to get done by putting that out there?
Well, other states, such as Ohio, have used their lottery program to incentivize people to participate and get vaccinated. Tennessee so far has chosen not to do that, but I think we can replicate something similar at the city level here and make it fun and entertaining for people to go get vaccinated.
Yeah. And I know that's the thing, right? If you want, and we talked about this in the past, right? If you want the city to be where we all want it to be, we have to get through this. You got to get businesses to stay in business. You got to get people healthy. You got to do all those things.
Well, that's right. In the very beginning, they talked about this balance between public health and economic health and how we were going to reconcile the two. And what became obvious during the course of the pandemic is that you can't separate the two ultimately. Economic health is public health. And so, that's why we've got to just double down and work as hard as we can to drive that vaccination rate up and get out of this pandemic.
Some of the notes in so you released a live tracker to kind of just hit to show people where you're accomplishing things and where you're still working on things. Homelessness, I know, is an area that people ask a lot of questions about, because those have gone up the last year and a half, and we know that. But what more do you want to do? What more do you plan to do as far as that goes?
Well, homelessness and affordable housing, of course, are related, and those are 2 of the biggest issues that we're going to face. We've got a lot of structural plans that are in process now, and more that you'll see in next year's budget to address this in a much broader and more sweeping way. So we are hard at work devising plans to really put a big dent in it. But as you say, it's a huge problem. I mean, the numbers have, I think by our estimation, quadrupled during the course of the pandemic.
Yeah, I know one of the things, I think that this is one of the things that's been checked off. Getting the services to work together better.
Yes.
And I think that's probably something that no matter what area you were talking about, coordinating more people to get on the same page.
That's right.
And because we've covered that a lot the last several years, and you do get different answers, different people, and different dynamics and different groups. Yeah. Can you explain kind of like just what you've done on that level and kind of your thoughts on that specifically? Yeah,
I mean, look, that's a theme and a watchword through our administration is collaboration and streamlining. So we've had great success working with the state and federal government and working personally with Mayor Coppinger, with whom I have a great relationship, to again work together and collaborate to get things done. Relative to homelessness, we've been working very hard with Sam Wolf, who's leading that effort here at the city, to again bring together all of our nonprofit partners to make sure that we're not duplicating effort and that we're serving the population and attacking the problem in the most efficient way possible.
There's also nothing in here about city code, about rewriting city code, and you think about that, and I've played some city code, and you think, oh my gosh, who would you want to sign that to?
It's good bedtime reading.
I mean, but that said, it also when we've talked to people about, I mean, I've had people who over the years whose job is to know city code, to quote me city code that I can't find, and that kind of. So I mean, there is a lot of. That's complicated.
It is complicated, but I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes, which is that I think it was Einstein who said, "Make everything as simple as possible, but no simpler." And that's the magic of writing good city code. And a lot of ours isn't good. It's overwrought. It's complicated. It's hard for rank and file people to understand, and that shouldn't be the case. It should be legible and simple, and it's not. So we'll spend the next 4 years tackling code and ordinance one at a time to simplify them and make them easier to navigate.
How did you land on that? Because that's not something that a lot of political candidates are going to sell, as far as like, hey, I'm going to fix a city code.
Yeah, well, as a business person, I got very frustrated with the siding ordinance in particular, and there were some pieces of it that I literally couldn't believe were the case. And I think if it's available on the city website, if you want to go download it and take a look at it, I would challenge anybody watching or listening to go do that. Again, the Beer and Record Board is another good example of some confusing and conflicting ordinance. So our code's full of it. It's long overdue to be updated, and we're going to be working hard to streamline it.
Yeah, let's talk about the 100 days again, if we could.
Yeah.
You look at our city leadership, right? You've been in office for 100 days. You've got the police chief who's leaving this week.
Yes.
I know the superintendent's not under the city's purview, but a superintendent who's done some impressive things, he's leaving. Really, the city is leadership in the city is changing fast.
Yes.
Your thoughts on that, and it's just kind of what your message is to residents who are thinking, oh my gosh, we're losing a lot of key people in this city. Well,
we have a lot of great steady leadership here at the city, and we're not going anywhere. So, and this is a tricky time, but I'm sure we'll get through it. And again, we're sorry Chief Roddy's leaving. I'm also sorry that Superintendent Johnson's leaving, although I'm glad he's staying in Chattanooga. But our goal here is to hire the best and the brightest to fill our vacant positions here at the city, and we'll be doing exactly that and making sure that leadership here is as strong as it's ever been to lead the city into the future.
Any updates on the police chief search and kind of where that is and when you'll have something to announce for us?
We just we have to do an RFP, which was just approved by City Council for one of two search firms that will lead the process. They're the same firms that do searches nationally. So that process really probably won't begin in earnest until next month, and it will take a few months. So it is going to be Interim Chief Tucker is doing a great job in his role now, and will continue to do that. We're in good hands there, but it'll be a few months before we have a new chief.
Anytime you take a new job, I think you have these ideas of like what it's going to be like, and then you get the job and you realize, oh, that's different.
Yeah.
Well, what about this job did you not expect? What about this job has been different than you thought it might be?
It's been pretty much what I expected. It's very well suited to my work style. I mean, coming from private business and running multiple businesses, there's a lot of variety, a lot of challenges. I like solving problems, and I get to do a lot of that here at the city. There haven't been many big surprises. I would say, again, not a surprise, but things don't move quite as fast as they do in private enterprise, and that's not surprising. I mean, the city's got 2,600 employees, but we're making steady progress every day, and I'm encouraged every day.
Yeah. I talked to you in the campaign, and you mentioned the book, The New Geography of Jobs.
That's right.
And the interesting thing that we're seeing right now around work is fascinating, where people are opting out of work. People are negotiating more remote work to stay at home more. Your thoughts on kind of where we are as a city, and just kind of just in you've been in business your whole life, where we are with that, and how do you see that?
Well, I mean, it's a great opportunity for Chattanooga. I've had, and most Chattanoogans I've talked to will tell you anecdotal stories about folks that they've bumped into who've moved here during the pandemic from other cities because they can work from home. Chattanooga has gained quite a few residents. I think one of our challenges is to identify those folks and get them woven into the fabric of our civic life, because a lot of these are really talented people who by definition could work from anywhere. And they've chosen to come to Chattanooga and work from here, largely thanks to EPB and our super fast internet, but also, our quality of life in the city we've built here. So I think it's actually a terrific opportunity for Chattanooga.
Yeah, I know last night in the city council meeting there's a lot of talk around, firefighters, police officers. helping those jobs be more attractive as well?
We've got to give them a raise. I mean, our level of service is close to dropping dangerously low, and it's not only the right thing to do because they deserve it, but it's the right thing to do because we have to retain and attract the best and brightest talent we can. And police, fire, and public works are all great examples of places where our city pay scale has fallen way behind the private market, and they just absolutely have to have a raise.
Yeah. Let me ask the story. This question that everyone me ask. So tell me about the Chattanooga Therapeutic Recreation Department and kind of you told me earlier you plan on spending that funding. But what can you tell me about that?
Well, we're in the process of constructing our budget for presentation to the council in August, hopefully for September adoption. And in our budget as it's currently written, we've pledged to roughly double funding for therapeutic recreation. So it's an important program to the city. We look forward to expanding it.
When you came to the station for that town hall, you told me something interesting. I think you were visiting with Public Works, and you were surprised, I guess, when you got into the kind of the meat and potatoes of kind of like how that operates. And you told me during the campaign too, right? You want to take a look at you feel like you were a good business owner, manager.
Yeah.
I feel like there were things that you could do, specifically. But how do you see that as far as now that you're in it? Kind of how you think that those changes could come and what you want to do?
Well, I mean, it's working well thus far. We've changed the way we do cabinet meetings, and we're actually all reading a book together now called We the Possibility, which is about public entrepreneurship and getting our departments here to think about problem solving in the public interest in more creative ways. And so, we're not surprisingly bringing my work style to it, and I think Chattanoogan's can look forward to city government that's more effective and more responsive than one we've ever had.